I was born and raised on a farm and kind of around welding and so forth, and I got interested several years ago in making knives, and I didn't really start making them until about 5 or 6 years ago. I tried it a time or two and just, once in a while, but I never did get serious about making them until about 5 or 6 years ago. I taught myself more or less. Kind of a trial and error thing. I'd temper up a blade and then get on the anvil with it and hammer it, and if it'd break, well then I knew I was wrong, and I just kept working with it until I got it where it wouldn't break, and I'd get it hard enough that it wouldn't break, and then if you get it too hard, it'll break. So whenever I build one, I don't want it to break. Whenever a guy buys one, I don't want it to break on him. So I generally test them on the anvil with a hammer to see if they'll break. Most knives you find today are made out of stainless steel, which is good, but I kind of old-fashioned. The knives, early knives, were made out of carbon steel, and so I started making knives out of carbon steel. I make stainless once in a while, but I just got interested in using the old carbon steel that comes in saw blades, like come out of sawmills, and then out of files and hoof rasp and so forth. The knives, some of the knives I've been making, out of a hoof rasp, you have to take the rasp itself and take the temper out of it, because when you pick it up like it is, it's so hard you can't work with it. So you got to draw the temper out of it. You heat it and put it in lime and draw the temper, and then you work on the knife. You build the knife, cut it down, and it's called stock removal, and you get it built and get it down close to being finished. Well, then you put the temper back in it, which you got to heat it up and quench it in oil and get the temper, and then draw it. You get it a little too hard when you first quench it, but then you got to draw it back where it won't break, and that's kind of the process I go through. But I generally draw my own patterns, and I just get an idea of the pattern, and I'll draw one until I get it right, and then maybe I'll make up the knife out of wood, and if it feels right, then I'll go ahead and make the knife, and generally they get along pretty good with them. Have pretty good luck with them. It's a lot of grinding and polishing and shaping, but I generally always design my own knife, or somebody gives me an idea how they want a knife. Well, I generally figure out a way to build one that'll suit him. I don't try to copy anybody. But I guess my knives are a little different than most knives, because most of them made out of carbon steel, and a little bit old-fashioned way of making a knife. And most of your new knife makers make them out of stainless steel of some kind, which I don't have any objection to it. I just kind of hard-headed. I guess I make them my own way, Knife I make it to be used. A lot of times the guy won't use it. He'll put it up or display it or something, but I make it to be used. I make the knife to be used in case you ever need it. Well, you got one that you can use in a guarantee that if something goes wrong with it, I'll do my best to fix it. I make a lot of different styles. I kind of tend to stick to 1 or 2 or 3 styles, but if I get an idea or somebody's got an idea how they want a knife made, well, if it isn't too radical, well, I'll try to make it for them. But if it's too radical, well, I don't generally try to get out too far. I try to make a functional knife that he can use and get some good out of. The people that buy my knives, I make a knife or two and see a friend or two, and first thing you know, I sell a knife, and he takes it and shows it to different friends, and pretty soon I get a call from one of them wanting a knife, and it's just kind of spread from there. The knife sells itself. I don't sell it, it sells itself. I've got a teepee, and sometimes I camp in it and go hunting and deer hunting and so forth, and camp in this teepee. And I've got a big buffalo robe that I use to sleep on. And a friend of mine that camps with me, he calls me man who sleeps on buffalo robe and teepee. And every time he sees me, he just calls me man who for short. And so I started using it on my knives as a kind of a trade on my knives. Couldn't put all that on there, that man who sleeps in teepee on the buffalo robe. Pretty hard to get on there, so. But it's kind of an Indian name that I acquired over the years. I don't know what'll happen on the man who knives. I just try to make a good knife and hope whoever buys one or acquires one some way will that it'll do him a good job, and I hope it's made well enough that he can pass it on to his son or his grandson.